Hey everybody, my name is Mark Reed. I've been posting a few videos on YouTube on Think and Grow Rich, um, wanting to not teach but share what I've learned, share what I've lived through the process of Think and Grow Rich. And so one of the ways I'm becoming a speaker, a public speaker. So in Think and Grow Rich, it says that you have to follow your intuition. Your subconscious mind will give you guidance towards your goals. And this morning in my meditation, I had this flash, this nudge to do a video on something that I live. And it's a bit of it's not a copy. I'll try to remember his name, but there's a man who already did some kind of video, an analogy about sailing and personal growth, building your business. The thing is I lived it when I was, so the nudge was to make a video on that story, on a story that is, it happened to me. I lived through it. When I was 17, I'll share the screen to show you. When I was 17, I was in youth jail in Quebec. And the youth jail at a foundation, and president of the foundation wanted to give kids in jail and other communities, because I'll explain the project a little further down, but he wanted to give people the chance. He was a French guy from France, and he knew a lot about sailing and a lot about the ocean, and it was a passion for him, and he wanted to share that with other people. And he rented from a foundation in France that exists and still exists today in 1984, when all the tall ships came to Quebec, all the tall ships from all over the world, Russia, Poland, the Kyrgyzstan, there was some from England, from Australia, from all over the world. All the most of the navies in the world have tall ships. And it was here in Quebec, the 350th anniversary of discovery from Christopher Columbus. So a way to commemorate this event, since Christopher Columbus came here by sailboat, was to get all the sailboats to Quebec to celebrate the event. So the president of the foundation, Raymond Josse, he's died today, he passed away, and what a huge loss for the world, because he was an amazing man. He rented three, not one, but three tall ships. That one that you're seeing now, it's called espoir, which is in English translated to beautiful hope. And there was another one, another three-mast sailboat. It was called the throuhght. There's no translation. And another two-mast sailboat that was called the. So, and his project was to bring kids 17 to 21 years of age, 22, from different kinds of life. You know, these boats in France, they use them for helping drug addicts get out of the drugs, street kids get out of the street, and all that, you know, all that surrounds that kind of issues or problematic, to get them on a boat together. So on the boat, there's 7 crew, permanent crew, all French guys from France. Some of them, half of them was funny because half of them were ex-drug addicts trying to get better, and the other half were doing their military service. So it was kind of this funny mix of crew that was there. And the rest of us, there was 25 of us. This boat has 3 masts and is 133 feet. You might think it's big, but when there's 32 people on this kind of boat, it's tight. There's not a lot of room to be alone. And one of my favorite places to be alone was either on the boom you see at the front. There's a net underneath, so I would go lie there alone. Or if it was like too hectic, I would just climb up the mast and sit up there on the top when you see the windmill there. It's kind of a windmill which shows you the direction of the wind. And I would go up there and just like peace and quiet and just make myself be rocked. And so it was so on that boat there was about 3-4 of us from youth jail. There was about, I don't know the exact numbers, but there were people from universities. There doing very well in their lives. There were people from high schools. There were people from group homes, and there was people from day centers for for youth, just cool day centers to do activities and all that. So it was all this mix and match of people together, and we have to learn to deal with each other. So I'll show you a picture of me when I done. That was really funny. I found that picture in my mother. My mother is like memory. She loves memories. So I don't know if you can see that picture of me. I'll get it up. Give me 1 second. Full screen. I'm not too good with technology right now, so I'm getting the hang of it, but I'll get that. Okay, so share screen. So that was me at 17 years old on the boat. Yeah, it's not the same guy. You can see that. And I'll be talking about parts of the boat. So if you see here, there's windows. That's where one of the entrance to go to the galley, which are our rooms, bathrooms, showers, and all that. Here is where we eat. So actually, this is the galley. This is where we eat, and there's another entrance. And keep that in mind because I'll mention it later. Yeah. So this is where we eat, and there's another entrance to go downstairs to our rooms. The bell here was used for dinner time or emergencies, like if we were stuck in high winds and all that, and we needed to change sails. They would just ring the bell, and everybody, even if you were sleeping, everybody would get up on deck and help out. So this I'm leaning on the main mast here, and you have other things here and there. So yeah, so I'll get back to the picture of the sailboat. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing there. There we go. Okay, so I'll put the picture on because it inspires me to. So this boat was actually a schooling boat, meaning that it wasn't a holiday. It wasn't there to. We had, of course, we had time to relax, enjoy the trip and all that, but mainly it was a schooling boat, meaning that see if you see some people on the ropes, we had to work. We had to work on the boat, so we had to keep the boat clean, which was actually disgusting when we got on it. There was cockroaches on it and stuff like that. And we actually had to lift up the sails, to raise the sails or bring them down, which were by hand, no cranks or electric. All like there was sometimes on the big sails, like the big main sail, we'd be like 3 or 4 of us on the rope and just jumping and pulling it down, jumping and pulling it down. It's very, very physical, especially if you're not high winds and like bad weather, and it could get pretty hectic. So, and we learned also, we were cooking on the boat, doing the dishes. So everything that needed to be done on the boat was done by us. So the crew was there to make sure the boat runs perfectly. And they were there to instruct us on how to do all things, but they would also participate with us, which was really cool. And we also, my favorite part, we learned to steer the boat and learn the marine charts, how to calculate our route, or how to study them to avoid rocks, to avoid like low tides and low how you say that, where there's sandbanks, low sea levels. So we learn everything about that. So the trip for me started when I was 17 years old. It took a month and a half. I was a month and a half on the boat from Martinique in the French Antilles to Quebec. So our route took us from French Antilles. We did 1 day of sailing. We ended up in Saint Martin for 1 day. And then we did 6 days out at sea to Bermuda. So this is like Okay, so now I'm going to start doing the analogy of dream building or self growth, because that trip for me was like, when I think about it today, it's like so significant. Uh, it's so in par with dream building or self growth or any adventure or thing you want to do that takes you out of the comfort zone, takes you out of what you're used to. So imagine me, 17 years old. I've been in jail since I was 13, so 17 and a half. It was month of July. My birthday is in April, so 17 and 3, 4 months. So I was in jail for 4 years and 3, 4 months before I got on that boat. And jails with no ladies. And on the boat, there was a few cute ladies. I actually hitched up with one of them. And there's a funny story behind that. Well, I'll get back to that later. I'm a little shy here. So yeah, so I'm thinking about it. It was totally amazing. So yeah, so imagine you're, at the start of an endeavor, at the start of a new project, at the start of a dream building project. You're writing your dreams down. You have your dream board going. You have your affirmations going. You have your sponsor, your mentor, your coaches going, and everything's going cool. I'm getting at the end of a coaching program right now. And at the beginning, it's like they get you to write down your dream, your vision life. What do you want? And all that. And you get excited. You get like in this kind of honeymoon, in this pink cloud where everything, oh, this is so cool. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this. And you just keep on writing down. Oh, like when you realize that everything is always possible, because you get to a point where you realize when you do coaching program or self-growth, you realize that everything is possible in your life. So you get into this honeymoon phase where, the world is your oyster and nothing's impossible. I'm going to get a jet. I'm going to get everything I want and all that. And so our first week and a half on the boat, it was a big sun. We're in the French Antilles. There's cute girls on the boat. We're having good meals there's people from, from mostly from Quebec. There's people from France, the crew, and they're showing us recipes that they have. We're showing them recipes that we have. There's a few Portuguese on the boat, also from Quebec, and they show us. So, and everybody's getting into it. It's so exciting. It's all new. We learn to drive and the sail. Everybody works together. And it's all this magic that's happening. And it's the huge sunshine, that amazing, wind, the sail just cruises on. We're learning to steer. We're good at this. This is so cool. And we have the dolphins in front of the boat, like you see in movies or in National Geographic, and it really happens, dolphins. And we have huge gray whales going underneath the boat. Sharks are following us because we're throwing our perishable food. Whatever we're not eating, we're throwing it overboard in the ocean. So we have a few sharks following us. You can see their fins there, so you don't want to fall in the water. And so this is all fine and dandy. It's beautiful, and it's like the beginning of self-growth, the beginning of a dream process, the beginning of a new business, or you get a diploma, getting out of school. You're reminded you just finished university, you get to college, you get your diploma, you're all excited, and you're Superman. Nothing can stop you. So, and then we did, like I said, we did a week, 6 days out at sea, and just a little, in French we say parenthèse, a little stop there. When you're used to land and you're used to everything that's so accessible to you, one morning I got up and I felt there was something missing. I was on the deck with my coffee and something was missing, and I couldn't realize what. And I went on the other side of the boat and I was looking around on the boat, and there was something missing. And all of a sudden I look up and I don't see any land. I go on the other side, I don't see any land. I look all around, I don't see any land. To be honest, I freaked out. I just freaked out. It was like, and there was the other boat that I talked to you about, the Ranavis, that we were sistering. We were following each other on the journey, and we could only see them, but they were like 200-300 feet away, unless they would come and bug us, and that's another story. But yeah, it was pretty eerie to have this feeling. And sometimes when you're in growth, self growth, or dream building, or you're opening a business and all that, you get to that point. You know, once you start, when the honeymoon phase goes down, when you get into reality, reality is work. You have work to do. Reality is you have to get out of the comfort zone. Reality is you're going to get scared, and when that hits you, um, you feel like I felt on that day, on that morning, where there was no land around me, and I lost all my ground, as you could say. I felt alone. I felt helpless. I felt terrified. I felt like I was on my own, like I had nothing to put my foot on. And I felt that, if something bad would happen to the boat, we're alone out here. We're done for. And so that's how we feel sometimes. That's how I felt, anyways, at the beginning of this dream building program and beginning of self growth. Even if you have people surrounding you, there was 32 of us on that boat. It was cramped. And even with all these people, and that's another analogy of, even if you're part of a mastermind, you have a support group, you get to a point where you're you with yourself, and there's no turning around. In that situation, I couldn't tell the captain, okay, turn around the boat, bring back the line, laugh at me and say, you go downstairs and suck it out. But there were Marine people there. Don't suck your thumb. You get the work done. And sometimes we got whipped a little bit. And even if you have the support group and all these people around you, you do feel alone. And you get to a point where you cannot go back. You're so far into your journey. You're so far into your dreams, your dream building process, that you cannot go back anymore. So the only way is forward with whatever comes with it. And that's when it starts getting interesting, because your paradigm starts kicking in. You're not going to do this. You cannot do that. There's no way you're going to get this. This is bullshit. All this programmation, all these affirmation, all these universe things. That's all bullshit. So all your paradigms, they kick in. And usually when your paradigms kick in, we start doing stupid stuff. Anyway, that was my case. And the analogy for that is we stopped in Bermuda. In Bermuda, we were parked right behind the Blue Nose boat, which is the Nova Scotia tall ship, the one on the Canadian 10 cents. Beautiful, 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 beautiful boat. Actually, it was Blue Nose. We're parked behind, and we were in this little town of St. George, and all the tall ships were on the other side of the island. And the reason we were there is because we came in too late, and there was not enough room on the other side of the island, so they docked us on the back. And the villagers, and they had one bar there, a few restaurants, a few cafes, and the villagers over there, they just got so excited that they felt left out because all the boats were over there. And then when we sailed in and docked at their docks in the little town of St. George, they just flipped out. And it was like they invited us to all these things. And remind you, I was in jail. Okay, and there was reason why I was in jail. I already got drunk so many times before. I already touched drugs before. I already had sex before. I was like premature in everything. So my paradigm started kicking in. I was enjoying this new adventure, this beautiful, beautiful thing. And I was on the boat. Actually, I was dating this beautiful girl. And my paradigms kicked in. My self-esteem and my self-worth were so low that to a point I realized that I don't deserve that. I don't deserve this beauty. I don't deserve what's happening to me. And that's paradigms. Paradigms are kicking in. So instead of, enjoying my time with this girl on the island, um, I saw another girl on the other boat, and those were my patterns, running to push away people that love me. Because that girl liked me, she was fond of me. And but I saw this other cute girl on the other boat, and I went for it while I was on the island. And it didn't work out with her, so I wanted to come back with the other girl, and there was no way. So instead of just, okay, I made a mistake, I'm sorry, and dealing with the consequences, I got back to some habits that I already had. So I got like, there was this bar, I was like 17 years old, I wasn't allowed in the bar, and it was Bermuda, it's British. So it's 19 years old, I think, or even 21 or whatever, for the legal age to drink. They weren't even supposed to let us in, mind you. And they were just pouring champagne, and they were like, I got so pissed drunk, and I got my hand on some weed, and I got just way stoned. And so those were my paradigms. Paradigms was sabotage. So we do get into sabotage sometimes, where we get unconscious or of what our paradigms are doing to us, and then we get into the results of that. So we have two choices. We get back on the boat and keep on going, or we take a plane home and stop the trip there. It's the same thing for rebuilding. We're going to make mistakes, sometimes really stupid ones. And we have two choices. Deal with them, keep on going, or hold everything up, I'm done with that. So then what happens? Okay, so we're so just a funny situation happened when we docked. Okay, that night when I left to go out to the bars. Okay, it was about like 6-7 o'clock at night. We were in a high tide, meaning that the boat, the dock, you see the siding of the boat, the top siding of the boat, and the dock was aligned. So I just have to like step on top of the boat, on the side of the boat there, and I would have like 4 feet, so just one little jump and I'd be on the boat. But when I came back, kids drunk at 3 o'clock in the morning, thrown out of my brain at 3 o'clock in the morning, we were at low tide. Those of you who know Mr. B, in every show he has the prequel, whatever you call it. You see him, like, you see the light shining down on a brick floor, and you see him flack right on the brick floor. But that happened to me. I actually did that because I just like got into the boat like if it was there, like right at 4 feet, high tide and all that. And no, it was like 7 feet down. And there was this girl in the boat, and she told me the next morning, all I heard was, "Wah!" So it's like that. Anyways, I bruised up a bit. But then we left that night. We were leaving in that morning. So I was like pissed drunk, and I went to bed, and then I woke up. I woke up not because I wasn't tired anymore. I woke up because we were getting shaken. The boat was just, and it was a wooden boat, so it was cracking, just cracking and cracking and cracking. And I could hear people moaning. I could hear, when I woke up, I could hear people screaming, crying. I could hear people freaking out, panicking. We're gonna die. We're gonna die. We're gonna die. And that's what woke me up, and the rocking of the boat. So little did I know, I got out of my bunk, and I'm shaking, being shaken from one side to another, and front and forward, and what's going on? And we like hit rocks or something like that. And I'm going up to the dock, to the dock of the dock of the boat. And I opened the door, and all of a sudden this wind just whips my face, somebody screams at me, "Don't forget your lifeline!" And he hands me this rope, so I tie it around me, and I get up on the deck of the boat, and just as time I clip my lifeline on the lifeline, my life holder on the lifeline. I get swept up by this wave, and I'm like flying like you see in cartoons. My whole body is up in the air and floating on the wave that just hit me, and I right on the deck and hung over. So I sobered up pretty fast. So I managed to get onto the cabin, and luckily we had a closed cabin. The two other boats had open cabins, and we had a closed cabin, so we were lucky enough. So I just realized that we're in a storm. The waves are 35 to 30, yeah, no, sorry, 25, 30, 35 feet high. We're in this huge swell. Everybody's freaking out because we had never experienced that. And when you get into dream building and self-growth, there will be some times where you will experience things that you have never experienced before that terrify you. Some people, Bob Proctor calls it the terrifier area. So you get to a point where it's like, whoa, that this is too much. This is too terrifying. And it's like, and I got to that point because I never lived that. I had no idea the boat could actually handle this kind of weather or, beating, because we would get beaten up. And I get onto into the cabin. There's 3 crew members and 4 others are sleeping, because we're doing quarters. We have 4 quarters for the steering of the boat. We have 4-hour quarters. So each in turn, we have 4 other quarters. So normally I would steer the boat like once every 2 days, and the boat would keep on going night and day. So we just, but in that situation, there was only 4 of us. The crew members were okay, but in the guests, if you want to call it that way, the sailors in the sailor gang, there was only 4 of us. There weren't 6 that were able to steer the boat, and the rest of them were sick down in the galley, down into the sleeping areas. They were getting sick. It was disgusting. And cockroaches. I always remember the cockroaches. And so I ended up in the cabin, and they told us, listen, the 4 of us were there, and they told us, listen, if you want, we'll take care of the boat. You can just go down there, and I didn't want to go back there. The smell was like, and I was kind of okay. I felt queasy a bit because the weather and the fear and all that, but I was okay. And I said, no, I'm gonna do what I have to do. So I started by steering the boat, and it was really funny because the first, and it happened like really, really, really fast. The way it works, it's really like in cartoons. The boat goes up on the wave, goes down, the other wave hits him, and then goes back up, and it's ongoing until the storm stops. So the first time I'm holding the steer, and I see this wave, and it's like this wall of water coming at you, and it's coming fast, and I'm just there, and they laughed at me because I just went, and when the wave hit the cabin, the noise, I felt like the whole thing was going to rip out, and it was thankfully pretty solid. And so the storm went on for 3 days, and the crew member, they were playing this French song. If I translate it, it says, "It's not the man who takes the sea, it's the sea that takes the man." So they were laughing their head off, seeing us freaking out and doing our best, because actually I was holding on the boat. That the steering wheel, if you want to call it that, I was holding on to it. I was not controlling the boat at all, or trying to. It was actually pretty amazing. If we have a conversation talking about that part of the trip, turns me on because I'm the type of, I like skydiving, I like extreme skiing, whatever is extreme. I like it, you know. And so the analogy there is we're going to get into storms. We're going to get into times where we have a choice. Again, to every step of the way to commit, keep on committing. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'm not going to falter. I'm not going to go back in my comfort zone. My comfort zone would have been going into the galley and not, getting involved into anything, not having to go walk out, because we'd have to walk back out to pull up the sails, bring down the sails in that type of weather with our lifelines on. Not knowing what would happen. And through the storm, we had like the main sail just ripped like a Kleenex. We had, if you look at the front, there's three triangle sails where one of the cords that you used to pull up the sail broke up at the base, and it was like an inch thick, an inch wide rope, wet, like soaking wet, and it would just like whip, and you couldn't get close to it because it would probably take your head off. It was so heavy and so wet. So, and another part of the main mast, the wooden mast at the base is called the boom, what is holding the sail at the base. One of the part of the boom broke, so we had the boom swinging from one side to another. We had the two pieces of sail that's making this horrible, scary noise. We had this whipping rope in the front of the boat, and we had to maneuver around these things because we'd still have to bring up or bring down sails because it was the survival of the boat. And it was such a wild experience. But the analogy is you're going to get storms. You are going to get storms in your growth, and some of the storms may come from financial situation, might come from your car breaks down, your audio system breaks down, and you need to do conferences. You have meetings, really important meetings, and something happens, or your friends around you get divorced, you lose your job, your car breaks down because then you have to go to work, or your relationships around you, since they know that you're trying something new and they don't want you to, they're afraid for you, so they try to pull you down like crabs in a bucket. And some of these are like storms, like they rip your heart. You just get on your knees and you just hold your head and what am I doing? And then if you push through, so what happened? You have to make decisions there. You have to keep on going. If you don't keep on going, well, those are your decisions. But I'll tell you what happens after. After the 3 days, we had this huge sun come up. We were like halfway between, we're another 6 days at sea. So in between, halfway between Bermuda and Halifax. So when we're still in July, it's still beautiful. The sun just came out. There were flying fish all over the boat because during the storm they flew onto the boat. So that night we had like a feast of flying fish. That's actually pretty good. And but after a storm, a lot of us think, okay, the storm is gone. I can just relax. Nope. No way. Because after a storm, like our storm on the boat, we had to fix the sail. We have to fix the rope in the front. We have to fix that wooden part on the main mast that broke. We had to clean up the boat. We had to clean up the galley because a lot of people got sick. We had to clean up the rooms. A lot of people got sick. So during the storms, many times, since it's new to us, our reaction to those kinds of situations, we might do mistakes. We might do mistakes that hurt other people. Like I said, the example of the crab in the bucket, people trying to hold you back, and some of them by jealousy, but some of them really because they care for you and they're afraid. And our way of telling them, listen, no, I'm going for that dream, that's what I want. Since we're like in this all turmoil inside of us, our ways of telling them might have been rough or like irrespectful, or you might have told them to literally F off. And we have reparation to do. Like on the boat, we had a reparation to do. So we have reparation to do towards ourselves, because during that storm, like I told you, my storm started before the storm. My storm started when I got drunk, when I got wasted. That was my storm already starting before, and I had reparation to do because I hurt the girl there. I hurt other people through that because we were supposed to all go out for dinner, and I decided to go with that other guy and dumping. I literally dumped it, and I didn't know how to react to that kind of situations. So I was just like really cold. "Oh, I'm going. I don't need you anymore," and that was my way of doing things then. So we have reparations to do. We have to pick up the pieces. And with those pieces, you either learn or you don't, and you make the same mistakes again. But there's a time of calm. And then you realize, well, we survived it. We all thought we were going to die. We all thought we all thought we were going to sink. And some of them actually really, really, really panicked. But we went through it. The four of us and the crew member, we went through it. The others, they were sick. It's understandable. If you have never have been sick on a boat, it's horrible. Seriously, it's really horrible. The feeling is, I have never went through it. I've seen people get seasick. And if you cannot get off the boat, it is horrible. It is painful. It's not a good place to be. And so now it's like the big party. Everybody's happy we survived. We're picking up the pieces in kind of a good mood, but like still shocked and all that. So now we have another 3-day sailing up to Halifax. And the other analogy there is you start your dream building in this pink cloud, like I said at the beginning. And then you get into it, then your paradigm kicks in, and then a storm kicks in, and it's all tests. It's all, are you willing to go through? Are you willing to go through? Are you resilient enough to go through? It's all kinds of tests, to see if that's what you really want. Then you got this big storm where it might destroy you, might destroy your life, your surroundings, the people around you, might destroy every area of your life. And sometimes it does literally destroy every area of your life, because that's what it needs to happen in order to, like the phoenix, he burns down and he raises back up and from the flames. But sometimes that's, and in the Bible, sometimes it even says that in the Bible, that you have to be totally destroyed and burnt out and then raised back from the flames and as a new person. And self-growth and dream building is, it's part of that. There's, for some of us, that's part of it. And then you go through the storm, you keep on going, like the four of us that we kept on going and kept on steering the boat and doing the maneuvers we had to do around the boat even with the risk that we're taking. And like, mind you, every time we got out of the cabin, it was a risk. Then we were thinking to be swept off, even with the lifeline. You could have gotten swept up, or water is strong. Don't ever doubt that. And but then you get into reparation, you get into cleaning up, you get into amends, you get into learning your strengths, realizing that you're stronger than you thought, that you survived this, really realizing new qualities, new gifts, that you're powerful. You realize that, and then you get to Halifax, and then there's this huge celebration. All the tall ships been in Halifax before going to Quebec, and there was this huge 5-day celebration. And then you arrive to your goal and start to party. Yeah. But then for us, and for most of us dream builders and self-growers, that's a good word, the journey never stops. So we left Halifax, we got into the Gulf of St. Lawrence. And in the Gulf of St. Lawrence, something very particular. It's not and it's not weather friendly. It's not boater friendly. Uh, the waves can be pretty critical. The wind can be pretty critical. The weather in the month of July on a sunny day, you're really hot. You're in shorts and t-shirts. But when the sun is not there, you're in winter coats. So that's another challenge. You know, in dream building, you have other challenges, and then the nice weather left us. It's not as fun as it used to be. So now there's tension on the boat. There's tension between girls and guys. Um, they're on relation, there are breakups. Now there's physical fights on the boat, and we have something else to deal with. We have relationship issues to deal with. The crew are getting tired. Most of us got drunk in Halifax, so we're like still hungover. And the team, the sailors, some of them don't want to do their chores anymore. It's kind of a rebellion that's going on. So nothing is going on as it is supposed to, because we're not in our comfort zone anymore. The weather's not nice, and and we ended up that we know the trip is ending soon. So the what? We don't want to get off the boat. I didn't want to get off the boat, and so we sailed into Quebec, and I was lucky enough. It was my quarter to sail, so I sailed the boat into Quebec Port. Of course, the captain of the boat sailed it to the docks, but I sailed it in all the way before. So that was kind of a victory for me. So that's my conference, my share, my whatever you might call it for today. Um, I woke up with that this morning, that I had to share something, that I should to share that with you, make it more in an analogy with examples and a visual. And I really hope it got to you. I really hope you enjoy this. I know I really enjoyed doing this, and I'll get something else. I'll find something else eventually. I have a lot of activities that I've done. I don't know. I'll find something to share, because one of my goals is I'm a public speaker. So I want to touch as many lives as possible with stories, with growth, with love, with passion, with dream building, with guts. I want to help a million people find their truth. And I hope this story really touch you guys. I know, like I said, I had fun doing it, and I'm really enjoying this. And we'll see you soon. So take care. You have a great time.